Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna. Welcome to Pariprashnena Sevaya, questions and answers pertaining to especially topics related to Varnashrama Dharma and general questions as well. We'd like to begin by offering our regular prayers of invocation. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pastacha Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gṛhasthas Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone may kindly repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vasaram pangum langayate yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We recite these prayers actually every day, especially when we are to begin some discourse or discussion on topics related to Dharma. Because these prayers are special invocation to the spiritual master, to Guru. Without the blessings and the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we cannot properly speak on such subject matters, nor can we properly understand the purport or meaning of the topics being discussed. So we especially take the blessings of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, who has given to the world this wisdom of Krishna consciousness, without which the world cannot be led in the proper direction. So in this context, one small announcement before we read from this very important book, speaking about Varnashrama. We have a special announcement actually in regards to this book. it was on my mind for some time. I have contacted the devotee who is actually in charge of publishing this third edition, actually, or rather second printing. Third time we are distributing this book, the original book from the Bhaktivedanta archives some years back, and then after that original the book was exhausted, then we published second edition, and this is our actually third edition. But the first time we are bringing this out in hardbound copy. So the special announcement is that we are making this book available as a special gift, complimentary copy to every single temple, not only in India, but around the world. And since Sridham Mayapur is our world headquarters, whoever's in Sridham Mayapur right now, about to, or planning to leave to go back to their respective countries, you can avail a copy of this book. Hopefully we have copies in Mayapur. If not, we will get a good stock of books at our office, IDBM office, Varnashram Ministry office, and the long building, which is the Chakra building, room 137. And there will be a paper you will need to sign whereby you are accepting this book on behalf of your yatra, of your temple, and you're duty bound to bring it back and present it to the local authorities so that they can make it available to all the devotees in the temple. We were mentioning some time back how actually every single temple must have a copy of this book. And therefore, because we are making this available, there is no reason in the world, there's absolutely no reason why a temple cannot have or should not have this book. It's being made available so easily for all of you. So we're hoping to begin this practically immediately. Please contact office. The devotee in charge is Vishnu Ratta Mayapur. And in this way, actually without reading this book, without reading the very clear, absolutely clear instructions, direct instructions given by our founder Acharya, we cannot understand how to cope with life. We cannot understand how to cope with crisis situations. We cannot properly understand how to cope with our present global situation as it stands today. So my humble request, kindly avail of this facility, this opportunity. It is, we can say, our humble attempt from the ISKCON Daiva Varnashram ministry to reach out to our own devotees to begin with, keeping in mind and hoping and praying that those who do take advantage of this opportunity of receiving this complimentary book will indeed take it back to their local temples wherever in the world. We were reading just a few days ago, that's in the video that was just made available for viewing for 3 days. Hare Krishna. The mantra, the movement, and the man behind it, Srila Prabhupada, whereby it mentions that from 108 temples in 1977, when Srila Prabhupada departed, we now have over 800 temples and centers and farm communities, etc. So we have 3,000 of these books. That means we have sufficient for each and every temple in every country, wherever we have an ISKCON temple. Please take advantage of this opportunity. Now we will take a few minutes to read from chapter 14. And here's the title of the book, of this chapter. This is from a lecture given by Srila Prabhupada on the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 35, in Geneva, on the 6th of June, 1974. So the title is, Every Man Should Own Some Land. Actually, this is the Vedic norm. This is how it used to be. How it used to be and how it should be. How it should be. Here are some of the themes being covered in this lecture. As the body is our field for cultivating Krishna consciousness, is our field. Very nice example. This body is called kshetra. Land is also known as kshetra. And we, as the spirit soul, are known as kshetragya. So Prabhupada is giving this nice example. This body is our field of activity. We decide, according to our understanding, according to our level of advanced consciousness, what to do with this body. If our consciousness is high, we'll do good things. If it is low, we'll do bad things. That will be destructive to ourselves and to others. In a similar way, land is meant to be our field. Prabhupada explains, every man possessed a piece of land. Every man owned food. World situation is deteriorating. This is a quote of what Prabhupada spoke in 1974. That is years ago. World situation is deteriorating because people are not producing their own food. So just a few sections here. In India, we have seen produce all kinds of food grains in a year. System. That is a system that in India, every man is producing his food grains independently. Formerly, all these men, they used to produce their food grain. So they used to work for months in a year, and they could stock the whole year's eatable food grains. Life was very simple. After all, you're required to eat. Was that one keeps some land and keeps, then the whole economic question is solved. Actually, we need to understand that this is the established standard, established by none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. It is the most scientific, natural, simple arrangement so that we can more easily meet our basic necessities of life. Then Srila Prabhupada is quoting this very nice verse from the Ishopanishad. Om Purnamidam Purnata Purnam Udachyate. In the creation of Krishna, there cannot be any scarcity. Everything is sufficiently there. Purnam. Purnam means complete. It is complete. Perfectly made. Either this planet or that planet. Everywhere the living entities are there, and Krishna has made for every one of them. There is no question of scarcity. But people are not the orders of Krishna or the authorities that you produce. Anad bhavanti bhutani. Even in the Bible it is said, thou shalt not kill. They're not producing food grains, and they're killing the animals and eating. How they will be happy? It is not possible. Most sinful activities. You produce your food. The bull will keep you. The bull will help you. And the cows will supply you milk. They are considered to be father and mother. Just like father earns money for feeding the children. Similarly, the bulls help producing, plowing, producing food, grains, and the cow gives milk, mother. And what is this civilization? Killing father and mother? This is not good civilization. It will not stay. There will be catastrophe waiting. Many times it has happened, and it will happen. The laws of nature or of God is most sinful. Just one or two other short excerpts. That means as soon as one has a land sufficient to produce, he is safe. So the opposite is true. As soon as we don't have, we are unsafe. The vast majority of people, because we have been on this tangent of migrating from villages to the city, urbanization. His food problem, that is a real problem, is solved if one has land. So people are not being trained up. In America, I've seen, now the farmers, the father is working on the farm and the son, they do not come. They live in the city. That is a tendency all over the world. They are not producing. Scarcity. Scarcity. Making the very important that one who actually has land, and that was the Vedic system, then by being respectful of the laws of nature, by following dharma. Dharma means to be respecting the law of God, the laws of nature. If one does that, then naturally one will be supplied with all of one's having cows, having bulls, brings safety in the lives of individuals and of societies. Now we will go to our questions. We have received a number of questions since our last presentation. Let us see here. We are today on our 17th session, actually, and we are addressing question number 52. And this was sent by Radhadyuti Devidasi from Pune. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes it is seen that Gṛhastha devotees do not want children, as they want to concentrate more on preaching and personal sadhana. However, there are other devotees who say having with each other. Maharaj, my question is, which one is better? It is experienced that bringing up one child consumes most of one's energy. Bringing up 2 or 3 children would leave no space for any spiritual aspirations, especially for women. I come from a family where both on my father's side and mother's side, my mother would explain that she was one of 14 children in her family. Her mother had 14 children. We are speaking here of 1 or 2 or 3. And on my father's side, 16. So the question here is it better to just have one child so that one can not be so distracted with children and concentrate more on one's side? Or can one have more children and reason being given here is better as they learn and grow with each other. The primary purpose of householder life is to give an opportunity for some living entities to take birth in a God-conscious, Krishna-conscious family, and thus also get an opportunity to become devotees. It is not that by raising more than 1 or 2 children, we will not have time to perform devotional service. Some years back, there was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, one Mataji, who was a mother. She had a young child, and she was also a pujari in one of the temples in America, I believe. And she was somewhat in a dilemma that I have to do my seva, my service, and I love to do my service to the deities, but I also have this baby. So somehow this came up to Srila Prabhupada's attention, and Srila Prabhupada very clearly explained, child is more important than serving the deities. Devotional activity, because as Krishna explains, one who claims to be my devotee is not actually my devotee. One who is a devotee of my devotee, one who is serving my devotees, he is actually my devotee. So children born to parents are Krishna's children, meant to be trained real devotees. This is a very important principle in our philosophy. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadyanam samarchanam. Parvati was asking Lord Shiva, who is the most worshipable personality? Because we hear about so many names are there, so many great personalities are there. And then Lord Shiva answered, of all the great personalities, Vishnu is the one who should be worshipped. He's the topmost personality to be worshipped. Aradha Sarvesham Vishnor Ram. However, he continued by explaining, even more worshipable than Lord Vishnu are those who are very deities of Lord Vishnu, or things in relation to Lord Vishnu, including the cows especially, for example. So therefore, one has to consider one's individual particular situation. This is a decision that needs to be taken by, naturally, both the husband and the wife. And they can also take good care from seeing. In the last so many decades in our modern day society, the tendency has been to have less and less children. And there are certain countries with one or two children, there are sanctions. So therefore, we have to always try to understand things from a Krishna conscious, especially in the country, especially in villages, where the vast majority of people would normally be living, and where the vast majority of people are meant to live, even now. It was natural to have many children. Very helpful for the activities in the village, on the farm, and they would be raised in a Krishna conscious and lifestyle. So in this way, as very nicely stated once by Srila Prabhupada's own Guru Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada was telling that my Guru Maharaj, who was a full, strict brahmachari, never had any connection with women. But he mentioned that actually, if having sex life would help to produce, then I would have no problem having sex life 100 times. So the idea is that according to our situation, we should understand that this is the prime duty and responsibility actually of parents to give an opportunity for conditioned souls in this material world to take birth in such an ideal and favorable environment. Srila Prabhupada would say how the children are so fortunate because they're born in devotee families. This is the Vedic culture. Prabhupada would give himself and his own spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was born in a Vaishnava family. Srila Prabhupada was born in a Vaishnava family. So therefore, it's a question of compassion. It's a question of understanding that actually raising children will not minimize or reduce or inhibit our ability to actually practice Krishna consciousness, because that very activity of raising children is very much pleasing to Krishna when these children are raised for the purpose of becoming devotees. So every situation or every family, every parent, they need to consider various aspects of their particular individual situation, but they should keep in mind the basic principles that this is a devotional activity. This will help Krishna consciousness. Queen Kunti Devi had 5 children, 6, 5 whom she raised, and there are many similar examples. Parents raising children and giving them an opportunity to become devotees. Let us go to the next question. This is from Detroit, from question number 53 from Jayabal Prabhu. My humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very one-line question practically. How to become humble? How to become humble and have tolerance to serve Vaishnava or other devotees? Yes. One becomes humble by purifying one's consciousness. We are generally not humble. I mean, definitely before coming to Krishna consciousness, all of us were lacking in humility, generally speaking. So being humble is very much connected with realizing our actual fallen position, our fallen condition. That before becoming devotees, we have been wandering and loitering in this material world, engaged in all kinds of sinful activities. We have been very offensive to the Lord by having rejected Him, by having forgotten, by having left His service. So in other words, the opposite of humility is pride. And generally people are proud due to their false ego, ahankar. This is the basic problem, the root problem for all living entities. The most subtle false identification that we are someone very important, that people should respect us, that people should obey us or follow us. So, how to become humble is by endeavoring very seriously, very sincerely, to chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, meditating on our fallen situation, serving others will also help one to become humble. Being more and more engaged in the mission of our Vaishnava acharyas. So all of us, we suffer from this condition. This is our long disease in the material world. And Krishna only will reveal himself. And this is very important. Krishna explained in the very first verse of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, idam tute guyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave. I am revealing this knowledge to you, my dear Arjuna, because you're not envious, you're not proud, because you have understood your position of not being able to solve this problem by yourself. So Krishna will only reveal himself to those who purify their consciousness. We purify our consciousness in the age of Kali, especially by the chanting of the holy name, by the pure chanting of the holy name. So it means applying ourselves nicely in the recommended process. It means developing a strong discipline, what we call a strong sadhana. It means trying to associate with those who are nicely engaged in devotional service. If we associate with those who are humble, those who are sincere, those who are enthusiastic, we will also become humble. We will also become enthusiastic in our practice of devotional service. So we become humble by understanding our fallen condition and how insignificant we are. So that means we need to read about and hear about how glorious is Krishna, how glorious are all of the different pastimes of the Lord, how glorious are all the exalted Vaishnava acharyas who have such an ideal life and wonderful activities for spreading the mission of the Lord. And if we simply meditate on the activities of our own founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, just by watching this video we were referring to a little earlier, Hare Krishna, the mantra, the movement, and the man or the person who made it all happen, Srila Prabhupada, then we'll become humble. We'll gradually become humble. Engaging in menial service. This was one of the traditional ways. Most of us actually did not receive this kind of training because most of us did not attend Gurukula. The Prabhupada explained that in Gurukula, whether one is coming from a very rich family, he has to clean the floor, he has to clean the bathroom, he has to perform menial service. That was and remains actually in the Gurukul traditional educational system the first level of education. That is real education that one receives even before taking up to different subjects, the academics. One simply endeavors to serve, and gradually in this way one will develop this mood or this mentality. So the basis of all of our activities and the basis of our success is centered very much on these two activities of Sravanam and Kirtanam. Hearing on a regular basis and chanting or preaching, and in this way our remembrance of Krishna will be there. Our understanding of how insignificant, how small we are will also come, and the more we have this kind of realization, then we will develop this quality, very important quality of humility. There are many wonderful examples, especially in the past times of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was especially emphasizing this quality of humility. And he instructed that actually we wear this mantra around our neck. Trinadapi sunichena taradapi sahishnana amanena manadena kirtanya sadahari. And in this way, learn to chant and to serve, being conscious of our very fallen condition. Let us go to another question here, which is from a devotee in Hyderabad here in India. There's a series of questions. We'll just take one question today from Naga Sai Raj. Naga Sai Raja. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories. Maharaj, first I would like to thank you wholeheartedly for giving us guidance through this wonderful daily program. Maharaj, in yesterday's question and answer, so that was possibly a few days back, session, to one of the questions you mentioned about family members. My question is related to that. So here's the question. In spite of practicing Krishna consciousness for years, we in a family may have differences in opinion for some time among the members. Maharaj, could you explain how to consider this? It may be due to not having purity in our daily sadhana or due to our past karma. Yes. So the point is, one may be practicing, or members of a family may be practicing Krishna consciousness. This is not clearly explained here, whether it's one's own family at home or whether it's a larger family of devotees of Krishna consciousness. We're also part of the family. So the same point is here, that there are at times differences of opinion that are leading to small disturbances. So the question, this is due to lack of purity or due to past karma? Generally speaking, it is due to lack of purity. Because as we take up to Krishna consciousness, and as the purification takes place, we are able to deal with all kinds of situations. We are able to minimize whatever differences may be there. It is not unnatural that there will be differences. Differences of opinion amongst our own devotees, amongst our senior devotees as well. This was happening during Prabhupada's time also, and it is there in our whole Vaishnava history as well. However, these differences will become less or will be minimized to the extent that individuals involved are more purified in their consciousness. There may be different kinds of differences of opinion. There may be theological differences as well. Some of these differences may be very subtle, very esoteric. One of the reasons being, or main reason being, that the subject matter of Krishna consciousness, the subject matter of dharma, just dharma itself, for example, is such a deep, very involved subject matter. And there are many different aspects or different considerations. And therefore, there may be at times such kinds of differences. Most of the time, amongst devotees or within, let's say, an individual family, again, I'm not exactly sure in which context you're asking the question. If it is within a family, although members in a family may be practicing for a long time, for many years, everyone is an individual. Be careful. Everyone is an individual, and to make tangible, it is taking time. Therefore, acharyas like our Goswamis, Srila Rupa Goswami in particular, in the Nectar of Devotion and the Nectar of Instruction, is emphasizing the need and the importance to be patient and to be tolerant in our dealings with others. Sometimes it is due to karma that we will, actually, it is always due to karma when we are in situations where there is different kinds of adversity. And therefore, where we are living, with whom we are living, with whom we are having to deal with, these are all prearranged, isn't it? Nothing happens by chance. And therefore, one really has to learn to see things in a Krishna conscious manner. Otherwise, one will have great difficulty accepting different reverses or adversities that will be there. That will be there. So it is not a question that, okay, because I've been practicing as a devotee for so many years, that I will not be meeting these kind of situations. A lot of it is due to our, we could say, the residue of karma. I mean, when we take up to spiritual life, to devotional service, if we are practicing pure devotional service, our karma is stopped. But as our acharyas explain, the fan of reaction, karmic reaction, will continue to turn for some time. Very similar to turning out the switch. When a fan is turning at high speed, if you turn the switch off, it will continue to turn. until it slows down to a complete stop. So taking to spiritual life is like switching off karmic reaction if we indeed apply ourselves in such a way that we don't again create karmic reaction. But having switched off that light of karmic reaction, some some small residue will be there, and therefore we have to learn to accept and tolerate such kind of situations. So how to deal with these situations are nicely explained. These two books, therefore, are most important for devotees. They are part of the four transcendental literatures given to us by our founder Acharya. I remember it was one of the first books that I came across before becoming a devotee, or in my early days as a devotee. In the back cover of Prabhupada's picture in a circle, and describing the nectar of devotion as being the complete science of devotional service. So in other words, our acharyas have given us in detail this complete science of Krishna consciousness by hearing this science and discussing with other devotees, then and of course not only by hearing but by practicing, by applying what we are hearing, then we will be able to deal with different kinds of situations. So it's a combination, just to close on this point, it's a combination of these two things. Very often it will, more often than not, it will due to our lack of purity. And even if it is not due to our lack of purity, such situations may arise due to two things: either previous karmic reaction, or it is Krishna's arrangement for testing us. Because even someone may be a pure devotee, Krishna will put such an individual in situations which may be very difficult for us to understand. Why who's completely dedicated himself to Krishna consciousness, why such things should happen to him? Yes. This question comes up very often. So I think we are, let's see. Yeah, we are close to the end of our session here. We'll just take a few minutes to wind up. We have been receiving questions from not only India, from other places as well. Please continue to send in questions, and we will endeavor to address them. And in closing, we should keep in mind the difficult situation in which all of us find ourselves in. Of course, being in the material world in itself is not an easy situation for anyone. However, there are times when there's more turbulence, as we are experiencing now. Therefore, devotees should be more cautious, and also it should be serving as an incentive for us to be more serious in following the vows of Krishna consciousness, more serious in trying to understand and take up the mission of our founder Acharya. We all know that the cause of all disturbances in the material world, as we were hearing or reading a little earlier, is due to not following the principles of dharma, not following the laws of nature, the laws enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, the more we deviate from these, different reactions will be there. It remains our responsibility as devotees to in these moments of difficulties, majority of people are less understanding about the laws of dharma, and therefore we should be endeavoring, because that is our main duty and our main mission, is to, in different ways, bring Krishna consciousness and make people understand how it is the only hope and remedy for addressing all these different situations in which we find ourselves in the material world. So devotees should be hearing various instructions. Actually, our leaders here in India, for example, are meeting to discuss different ways in which to help our different temples, and therefore we request every devotee to be working nicely with their local authorities. And one of the best ways is to individually, all of us, apply ourselves nicely to be strong in our daily practice of Krishna consciousness, so that we can be in a better position to deal with the situation. And one last piece of information, we have been mentioning how within a short time we are planning to inaugurate our special courses, actually, in relation to Varnasrama. So this is to be found in a website entitled Varnasrama Online, Varnasrama College Online. You can access this website at www.varnasramacollege, is in one word, varnasramacollege.com. Of today or yesterday made it possible for the teachers. We have already a list who are eager to present different courses, and they are themselves having to register as teachers. That is ongoing right now, and within a few days we're hoping to have the registration open actually for students. So if anyone out there is interested to know more about different aspects of Varnasrama, specifically in areas that we will be identifying as soon as the different courses are identified, as soon as they are given particular titles, each one of them will have a particular code. So we will be making those available on our website, and there's going to be actually registration. We can begin practically immediately. There will be a nominal fee, which one will be directed actually on the site where to go for this very nominal fee. And meantime, one can begin to register so that we can process these registrations. So kindly take advantage. This is one of many ways in which our devotees in different temples and in different countries around the world are trying to facilitate and give opportunity not only for our devotees. The Varnashram College will not only cater to our ISKCON devotees, anyone who's interested in the subject matter, and it will be covering basically, as we mentioned, these 4 areas of knowledge that are described in the Shastra. So we're closing here today. Everyone can kindly repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Samasta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai Nitai Gaura Primanande. Hare Krishna.